mid lane bush. She knew the game was over, basically. But this is a big change now. Mighty actually picking Dragonshire against L5. After game 2, I gotta say, they feel pretty confident against all the macros that L5 has been doing tonight.
It feels like it, right? So Dragonshire is going to be the map. And first pick, of course, will go over to L5. I wonder how they're going to approach the draft on this one, because it feels like in terms of the draft and going for macro and control, and also for team fighting, we've seen a little of both from both teams. And I think the start of the draft is going to send one of these teams down their path, right? When you pick the first pick, Ariel, obviously you're going towards a team fighting draft, but they also had the Falstad there, so they were able to bring globals to the table on Sky Temple. And the Malthael pick just certainly did not really gain a whole lot of value there for L5, except in the solo lane where they were able to get that first blood. So let's see what they want to draft this time. They will have first ban, so they can take that first pick into their own hands here. They have been banning the Ariel in first pick, so I think that's something that they're probably going to look towards here, unless they want to grab it themselves.
It's a little bit of a change here because Dehaka rises up a slightly more compared to other battlegrounds, and also Tyrael, the solo laning. Maybe Mighty this time will be considering using Malthael with the Tastar if they are able to pick that up in the coming rotations, because L5 has the first man, first pick.
I think right now they're wondering, do we want to try to get Genji or do we want to try to get Ariel? And I think Ariel is more valuable in this meta for L5.
Just ban Uther and then see how Mighty does. If they leave Genji open, take it. Leave Ariel open and take it. Yeah. I think that's...
You could also ban Stitches. I think that's not a crazy idea here either. They're going to ban the Ariel, so they clearly don't want it. I think they're hoping for the first pick onto the Genji, but I don't think that will be given to them.
And no Stukov yet, guys. Very hyped, but not yet. And he's a very solid support. He'll be a tier 1 at least. And we're going to see him on Western and Eastern Clash. And I'm very hyped.
Yeah, he will be legal for play there. And sorry, been announced I'll be going to Eastern. And I'll be looking to see these Korean teams, the ones that make it, how they use him. Only one of these two teams that's going there, man. And Tassadar is going to be the first pick, so they take the other safe support here. Tassadar has been very strong today. 100% win rate in both of our games so far. Twilight Archon in the late game is such a powerful tool.
That's the double update coming. Well, that's the double support coming, so. And for Mighty's side, as I mentioned, their double support was really not too strong before. Actually had the worst win rate. And now coming in, that Tastar is lost to L5. They want to pick up a solid solo lane from the beginning, as I mentioned. Malthael can be a choice. They're going to go around with the Stitches, Uther, the decent common picks coming out from all top Korean teams right now.
Yeah. The Uther over the Malfurion, but easier to hit the pairings there.
It's still open. I think Mighty was considering bringing Illidan possibly, but not having that Tastar, I think that was the biggest factor why they did not choose it in their rotation back there.
I wonder if, with Ariel banned and Uther taken away, if it's even reasonable to run Illidan for L5. I don't think they can run him because Malfurion is just not going to be enough healing. There's no burst heal, it's longer sustained heal, which won't protect him in a fight. Sure, he's got Tassadar there to help out, but...
So they brought out Rehgar oftentimes. The Ancestral healing saved him lots of times. Also great for camping on this map to catch up in the macro if they do not have Falstad. Or even with Falstad, it would be even better with double global coming in. I think it's a very likely chance that we'll see Illidan in this draft, and there it is! Exactly!
Okay, they're going to take Rehgar. For some reason, I totally forgot about Rehgar, but that's going to be the burst healing they're looking for. That's going to be the Ancestral, so Illidan will be taken here. Good call, G-Clef. And this is a kind of a scary comp to deal with. It's a strong solo lane, and they have good wave clear. They're going to have very easy rotations to steal camps with Rehgar, because Rehgar clears so quickly. I like this draft a lot for L5 right now. Tyrael won't be available to them. Obviously, that was the easy ban because you don't want to have that extra protection for Illidan. You've got the triple support basically with the Tyrael there, and that could have been pretty bad.
Yeah, it seems like Mighty's really putting Tyrael high, and Hooligan Serial was not perfect, but definitely a solid pick. So just taking that out, and they have Stitches on themselves. Maybe they're considering bringing in Martel for themselves even more with the Sanctification gone from the game now.
I think that's definitely, I was thinking about that earlier too. I think that's definitely a real possibility because having a strong solo lane is so important. And against Illidan with Malthael, you actually do pretty well, obviously, because you can simply just, I mean, he's a melee hero, right? You don't have the, you don't have to deal with like a Falstad who's just kind of kiting you. If you can just attack him one time, then you can win that fight because the damage is still going to tick through even if you use your evasion. Well, I think Malthael would be a solid ban here. It's really tough to know exactly what Mighty is going to bring. Greymane is also a good ban. What's it going to be?
They can keep the same and ban Tehaka against Mighty. And again, Medivh, just like in game number 1.
I just don't think that this is a great ban in this situation.
I think the double Medivh ban that we had today, it's from the scrims. They know some other information that we do not. So there's a Greymane. And Sonya actually coming into play this time. We actually saw Sonya. And one of the interviews that we had, Sonya was a good counter to Genji and also Illidan at the same time. And Mighty bringing in Sonya, that's a difference in the draft right now.
If you can hit your Ancient Spears, man, she's got good sustain with her Whirlwind healing, especially against the dive that we're seeing from L5. So
even more if you go for the poison at 7, it seems like the talent really coming up highly from the green players especially.
Yeah, I actually really like I like the Sonya pick here. It's a strong solo lane. I think it's better, it's more reasonable than the Malthael that we were talking about. But because they were so worried about the Medivh combos with Stitches for some reason, even though we've seen that so rarely actually work out in competitive play, like you said, probably something with scrims, they leave Greymane open. So they have Greymane and Sonya now with Uther. I think this is a very powerful draft for Mighty. They need to make sure that the Sonya pick is good enough to counter the Illidan, however. Might even lend us to a 5th pick Falstad, actually, for Mighty. It's going to be Vala as the DPS here. And as you said, Murden.
Vala, and here comes Chromie!
Insta-lock, by the way.
No globals. I was expecting something like a Tehaka coming in, actually, to have the global, but they want to go all in to get the hooks, get all the perfect combo with the loop. They want to get picks here.
Well, they certainly are putting kind of... This composition just got shoved into a... I hope we hit these combos. Woo! There's no more consistent damage that they could have had with like a Falstad pick. I would have really preferred the Falstad for the split pushing. They're going to have to control this game like they did on Tomb of the Spider Queen in the early game with picks and aggressive plays. Otherwise, the late game is definitely going to go to the side of L5. Let's go into game number 3, guys, on Dragonshire. Mighty Joker on Stitches, BDG on that Chromie, good on Sonya, Nasang on Uther, and Magi on Greymane.
And on the other side, L5, Hooligan on Muradin, SCSC on Vala, Jungha on Illidan, SDE on Tassadar, and Swoi on Rehgar.
Alright, well, the Chromie pick is so good at bursting down targets, so you can kill the Illidan who has so much sustain and protection that way, but if you can't do it, and Chromie is just a, I was going to say a big target, but she's actually a really little one, and she's got very little HP bars.
That's right, but she'll be on the far, far back
She
line.
has to be.
With the auto attacks though, but it's less likely because you do get to get more range onto your auto attack, but if you want to get those auto attacks, you have to be closer to your enemy.
BDG missing the timing there after the stasis wore off is actually like already worrisome to me. I'm like, ooh, if you can't hit those.
That's alright from the beginning.
If you can't hit those though, I don't know if you're going to be hitting the money ones later. So I'm just waiting with bated breath here. Let's see how it plays out. As you said, we can forgive him for this one, but
ooh, L5 actually pressuring hard from the beginning. This is going to cost a lot for Mighty when Good wants to sustain himself because he's so far pushed back. When it comes to the Shrine fights, Shrine timings, he will be delayed so much more.
Yeah, they took the long path to come over and deny this, but this gives a huge EXP lead to L5. And Mighty actually, the safe path to go up, so that bought them a little bit more time to escape. I'm a little bit worried, I suppose, that if they sent Chromie alone there, that might have been picked by the Illidan. Well, going to be a Shrine trade here for the time being. Okay, that one was hitting. I'm just trying to keep track of how many shots BDG hits. That one was not the good one.
Does not hit a minion, but he gets the auto attack though. That's the thing.
Yep. He's alright. He's got a decent amount of mana left, so. Alright, this is actually an opportunity here for L5. If they can actually continue to hold on to this one. Ooh, they don't have a squatter on that. Looks like it's going to be SC who goes for the squat. Hooligan can heal up all that damage, so they should be able to hold on to this one for now.
Jung actually channels.
Oh.
Magi barely goes in and cancels.
Close call there. L5 just didn't capitalize on this quickly enough.
Okay, I see a little bit more into L5's team comp as we have Rehgar and both Q-Vala coming in, and they're going in a little bit more. They don't want to go for the kill, but here, they want to go take the Shrine, get the hooks. Missed.
Ooh.
Well done
razor
there.
thin on both of these. I think the Q-Vala is to try to punish whoever's squatting the Shrine. And it's very objective based, but it will cost them a lot of DPS. But they're not all in with the Vala pick here.
They want to go more towards a macro. They want to use the Vala pick as, with the help with Rehgar, they want to have the fast rotations coming out because Mighty does not have the global right now. So they want to punish that hard.
Yeah, and it's, you know, Wolf Rehgar as well. He's building into Feral Heart and Wolf Run. So this is not going to be a fight that Good can win, unfortunately. Can sustain with the heal.
There's a totem for the slow. There's a kill onto Sonya. That's the first kill.
Meanwhile, they get a counter kill down here, so it makes it worth it, I suppose. But yeah, I think most of the shielding should be going to Illidan anyways, right? So that's part of the reason why the Q makes a lot of sense. Ooh, this is a sick play here. Almost gets the pick on the Nasong, saw the rotation up. That would have been in a highlight reel for sure, but isn't going to be the case. Ooh.
There's the jukes.
Jukes indeed. Or misses, whichever way you
If you have
want to look at it.
Illidan and Rehgar and Q-Vala on your team, the camps will be instantly gone. And when you have that against you, it's going to be... Gladly, Mighty actually decided to take Sonya instead, so somewhat they can catch up with the Greymane actually. But if they didn't have a Sonya, just the Greymane, that would have been a huge trouble trying to catch up with all those the camp fights going around the map.
Yeah, also, one thing I'm really concerned about for Mighty because they took Chromie over Falstad is the lack of globals. And L5 doesn't have a quote-unquote global hero, but you talked about it already. The Wolf builder coming in with Rehgar here gives them the ability to roam between lanes much faster, clear those camps. And when we have 10, I believe that it is going to be the hunt. I think Illidan is going to look for that extra global, so we'll be able to split pressure. Speaking of pressure, Joker here gets body blocked and destroyed. So another pick here for L5. And Mighty just isn't doing anything with the Chromie pick. Just doesn't look very strong right now, to be honest. It hasn't accomplished anything. Sure, it gets the auto attack here on the Sway, but what else?
Until level 8. Once she gets access to the temporal loop, I think that will be the time. If they get the hook, they will basically secure a kill for sure.
I think slowing Sands is also a reasonable option too. We might see it to slow down the Illidan to stop the hyper carry potential.
Maybe.
I think both are viable here, but because of the lack of accuracy out of BDG, to be totally frank, I think that temporal loop is basically required because, I mean, we're not seeing the accuracy. Like when I see crazy moving play Chromie, I go, okay.
One. Does not get the kill, actually, Sway.
Like when you watch, oh, that was a good one right there. That was a good prediction. Well, when you watch someone like Crazy Moving play the hero, you go, oh, okay, I see why this is a terrifying pick. But when I'm watching BDG on the hero right now, he normally plays auto attack ranged carries, not the skill shot ranged carries. So this is not looking very impressive at this current stage.
And there's the also cleanse onto the other side, which is somewhat worrisome for as a Chromie player to actually have that. The cooldown is about the same, a little bit different, but if you cannot get a kill, the Chromie pick is basically wasted from just a single perfect cleanse coming out from Sway.
Yeah, and the whole idea with it is supposed to be to empower hooks, but we're just not seeing that. Vala is going to die, perhaps to that very notion, the hook there. It's going to be a 1-for-1. Actually, as Sonya is dove upon and killed here, not respecting the level 10s coming out. But the hooks we talked about on Tomb of the Spider Queen, etc., those combos, the potential grabs, like we're just not seeing those for Mighty, and so they're losing out as a result. They will at least have the ability to grab this fort here. If L5 saves it, they just get further ahead though, and they can't stay around long enough. They don't have the wave clear, so L5 just continues to get further and further ahead. And I don't want to really keep beating a dead horse on this Chromie pick thing, but imagine if Falstad were here, how much better of a time Mighty would be having.
Yep, even a Dehaka could have been so much better.
Absolutely.
I think they had a lot of burst coming in. Now with the Vala, with the strafe coming in, actually does tons of damage from the backline when they're pushing with all the dives coming in. Looks scary already, and L5 with the hunt. Jungha already onto his work here on pushing top. Will join into teamfight anytime. And Leap coming out from...
Yeah, Leap is going to be the
choice. They
choice.
want to commit every single thing here.
Again, it's going to give Chromie a better chance to hit those shots. They have so much CC.
Yes.
And they have the burst with Greymane as well. We'll see if they can make it happen. It's going to be the first team fight we really watch here. That's a full-blown one. Avatar is used for Hooligan right now, but L5 is accomplishing nothing. Has to use defensive Bile, defensive Divine Shield. Get the hook here, but it doesn't matter because friend or foe allows Jungha to escape.
That's not the way you try to use your wombo combos. Everything was just wasted for defense. And now you have to wait up for another minute at least to have those cooldowns back, and L5 can just out-rotate this entire thing.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, that was a messy fight. I want to see a fight where Mighty can initiate. I want to see them jump in with the leap and get a pick or get a stun on the Vala, have the follow-up skill shots actually connect for BDG, and then just have him basically straight up win the fight that way.
Coming out from the side, BDG is very low, doing some damage though, but here's the actual damage coming out from SCSC. There's the Ancestral Healing, first kill onto Greymane.
Good was not there. You could tell he wanted to use Leap to try to turn this fight around, but he came too late. There's the pick on the stitches. SC doing so much damage. Here's a nice leap. That was a good leap there, but it actually is going to cost them as well. Good's trying to heal out here as best as he can. Gets taken out. Nasong barely survives. The leap was good, but still this is a one-team fight for L5. Mighty needs to be the initiators. They need to be the ones using their massive CC to get the picks, not getting hunted by Illidan out of position, overextended in lane. And, you know, this is the kind of play that L5 is famous for. A brave, a bold move to pick Dragonshire against L5, knowing their macro play is this strong, knowing that with Illidan, they were going to take the hunt, still picking Chromie. And unfortunately, you know, it feels like we could have known the ending to this story after watching the draft. L5 has the stronger draft. They're using the rotational play. They built into the Wolf on Rhaegar for the faster rotations. They're the ones finding the picks. They're the initiators, even though it should be Mighty who's finding those picks with the hooks, the stuns, leap coming out. And they just can't make it happen with this draft, unfortunately. And if it was a better Chromie player, maybe it would look different. But with BDG so far, I myself am not impressed.
Yeah, with so much pressure in all lanes now, and Jungha, for the entire game, all he has to do is just try to push the time. Here's comes the punish though, but it invades all the damage coming out from Chromie. No damage from Chromie there.
None. And that was, that's why you don't kill the walls. Illidan uses the wall to escape.
Yep.
It's actually very important. A little subtle thing. Sonya can use those as well for more mobility. Ends up being something that we rarely see in Heroes, but you know, you read about it on Reddit, but it actually does come true in real life. Here comes Jungha.
SCSC survives. There's the strafe damage now onto the other side. Can
missed again. The shots miss.
Coming in, that's all you need, Swoi. If you just hold on to that cleanse for the perfect time, whenever the loop is used, Chromie does no damage there.
That was just no damage whatsoever. Just missing everything. Hits only Muradin? Okay, well, who cares?
Yeah, Sonya was also missing from the fight. Lack of leap, of course, is costing them. But if their entire comp is to get the picks, but if they cannot get that working, especially because there's cleanse onto the other side, the macro is against you, ooh, you're having a rough time in game number 4.
You certainly are. And now Hunt's back available.
Game number 3.
So, sure. All right.
Yes.
Oh, everyone makes mistakes. Just ask BDG. Okay, look. We're going to have this team fight. Good is way out of position. Has to use Leap to escape. At least gets the sun there. Curse Bullets used on the Hooligan, but he doesn't even have to pop his avatar. Divine Shield self-cast here for Nasong. And now L5 basically has free roam. Sure, they use the Archon, but nothing else really. And this is just straight up a big win for them. If the Shrines are available, this might even be a free Dragon Knight. Of course, that one just expired, so they're not able to do anything off of this. But again, worrying signs for Mighty watching fights like this happen. So many expensive cooldowns used there. And Jungha, you know, he's famous for his Illidan. On Ballistics, when L5 used that moniker when they had the Ballistics sponsor, He was terrifying on the Illidan. He was the first Illidan to play Hunt in professional matches. He did it at the the finals for Gold Club, the World Championship there. That's a hard name to say, but I got it eventually there. So he pulled it out there. He showed the pick was strong. It eventually became meta across all regions. And you're playing into that with no global of your own. And this pick-oriented comp is not getting picks. The DPS for Chromie is abysmal with what we've seen from BDG so far. And L5 just looks like they're going to walk away with this one. I can't imagine this game changes unless we see some amazing leaps. Or Mighty starts to be the aggressors, start to be the initiators. They're down a talent tier now, and they probably will be all game if nothing changes soon.
If they can get a stall time until 20 and bring in the crate, because L5 does not really have too many escapes. To be honest, like Rehgar Vala does not have any escapes, so they can actually stall time to 20. Maybe they'll have a chance getting these hooks. If they can get a kill, there's a temporal loop.
Nope.
Not enough damage onto Moradin, of course. Had to use the Avatar, though.
Yeah, they trade 1-for-1 heroics, but this is not enough, and now Jungha's going to channel. He has to clear the minion waves, so they have at least that to buy time. But no one's even nearby. This is so frustrating. If you played this before, you're like, oh my god. Okay. The minion was actually firing an arrow as well. The ranged minion there actually
Minions
almost
OP.
interrupted.
Yes, that's the Winions there.
There you go. But another Dragon Knight for L5. This one could be the keep. They actually want to take the bot lane. They want to do it safely, and they want to get the extra EXP from this to push towards 20.
Look onto Hooligan once more, but the Dragon Knight is here, so they can push a little bit more. Leap actually committed no follow-up damage. They have to go back. Maybe they even have to use the Divine Shield too.
BDG actually hit some real nice damage there, actually hitting 3, but it's just not enough, unfortunately. The cocktail was good too, but yeah, Leap used in an unfortunate manner. The Divine Shield having to be self-cast again. Now, L5 just takes again the safe play, gets the fort. They know that they have the better composition because of how Mighty is trying to play this. And so they're just willing to not go for the all-in plays, not go for the keep, but just play the safe game. Because if they just don't make any major mistakes and don't allow Mighty to get 20, they should just be able to close this game out. Really, you got to respect how careful L5 is playing this.
Yep, Jungha even taking all the shots to get the ammo out. And using the maximum value of Dragon Knight here.
It almost feels like they're trying to pick Muradin with the hooks, because the hooks are consistently hitting him. But why? If you get the pick onto somebody else, like Vala, or maybe even after Tassar's used Dimensional Shift, you get that pick, that's more valuable. You get the pick on a Muradin, it's just never going to do anything. And even though Curse Bullet has such a short cooldown, we're just seeing this happen over and over and over again, sometimes even with Temporal Loop committed to. And L5 just walks away and smiles. Most of the time, not even having to use that avatar.
I think the Chromie idea was decent, but not perfectly done, of course, against the Rehgar, but Joker gets caught. So much damage coming in. There's still Hunt actually going into BDG. Does not connect, and Jungha may actually get caught off with the hook. Ancestral does not go in. This is 1-5 Mighty. Can turn around, but SCSC with the strafe, and Q's coming out doing so much damage.
It's going to be a 1-for-1, it looks like here. Or 2, actually, as Uther does get taken out. Doesn't have redemption. That was a terribly disjointed fight for Mighty, though. There was no communication. Clearly, as Good decided to leap into the backline while the rest of his teammates were retreating. That was a pretty aggressive leap. Didn't have the, he had the Divine Shield, so he had some sustained healing, was able to heal himself back with the Whirlwind to end up making this at least not a terrible fight for them. But I just don't want to see Mighty draft like this anymore, because clearly this is not something that's very well practiced for them. You could see it. As you said, basically, it was a good idea. It was a good kind of theory, but in practice, not very strong. And also, execution here is definitely a little bit weak. You can have an amazing idea, but if you can't execute it, it just simply doesn't matter. And L5 now is approaching level 20. They played the safe game, grabbing some extra soak. It's Hooligan up here, actually in the top lane to get this.
It's not just Mighty. L5 just knowing exactly what to do against that Chromie pick. Against all the picks that Mighty has chosen. They know the theme, they understand what they're trying to do, and just out macroing, trying to catch up with the global. Once they have it, have the split push on top Jungha all the time, and go around the camp. The Q-Bala is really coming in. Look at that speed of the clearing.
It's quick, man. You got a comp like this, you're going to clear it so fast, as you were talking about earlier. So, Mighty, what do they do now? What do they do in this late game? They're looking for the crater, no doubt, but They need to soak for 20. They need to play passively. And at least I guess for them, because L5 is playing so safely and so defensively, they might have an opportunity to live to see that 20, to live to tell the tale of how they came back, how they got the crater, how they had the better late game fights. Picks are more valuable in the late game, more difficult to get, sure, but more valuable because of the long death timer. So if they can get an amazing hook, maybe that turns this game around. The temporal loop comes in, you get the pick, and then suddenly L5 has a 60-second death timer. Well, these are a lot of ifs. We always talk about when the more ifs you have to say for a team to come back, the more less likely it becomes for them to do that said comeback. There are options, there are opportunities. I think Mighty just needs to turtle and start playing aggressive for picks. If they can't get those picks, if they can't get the hooks, they're not going to win the longer team fights. They've shown that to us clearly, as this 8-4 kills to deaths shows in favor of L5. So picks need to be the way.
This looks scary.
Not even going to contest the Dragon Knight, though. It almost looks like they've just simply given up on that entirely.
They can't. Against the 20, especially with Fala having the extra range now with the auto attack, you can basically never catch Fala from the back line when you have to deal with the Illidan on your front, from the front line. Mighty simply does not have an answer. I don't think they will find an answer until they hit 20. They have a slight chance. It's still going to be very tough.
Look at SDE clearing those stasis as well. Just doing such a good job of making sure that with his double side storms, they're never going to get trapped. Unfortunately, misses this one, but not going to be too significant at the end of the day. L5, though, not aggressively pushing for this keep. They just wanted to have the longer fight. They're just kind of poking it here with SC and the Siege Giants. I love how they don't dive in. The Dragon Knight is used mostly for kicking. They get the safe keep. Now they can retreat. See, if for the first time, they might actually be aggressive. Nope, just going to back off, it looks like. If they had an opportunity, they would take it, but there just isn't one here, and they don't need to. But again, the worrisome thing for L5, the only thing that I'm worried about for them is if they give Mighty 20 and they have some miraculous team fight to come back. That's the one thing that could lose this game for L5, which is why, you know, MVP Black in this case, remember we always compare to MVP Black as their top team in Korea right now, they would have gone core there. They would have gone for the kill. But L5 is being very patient. I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier about the lack of a dedicated shot caller to make calls like that. They're like, let's just leave here. Let's play it safe. We're winning this game. We're winning every team fight. No reason to try to look for the kill right now. We're going to have now the extra pressure from the keeps for the siege minions. I guess that's the name of the game for L5 right now.
But glad L5 could have gone for a little bit more pressure because they had time, but gladly for Mighty, they got the time and they hit 20. And this is time for Sonya to actually... Is she going to go for the crate, actually? Try to turn things around at least, giving a lot more power to Chromie because the targets cannot escape from there.
Seems like she wants it, though. Gonna play it safer here. So, I don't necessarily want to say that I think this was the wrong choice, but it was a different one. And yes, going for the safer plays,
yeah,
Hardened Shield coming out.
It's more of the sustain for Sonya, I think.
Yeah, which can help them win team fights. But just feel like getting hooks or getting the amazing leaps or Mighty's best shot here. Look at the extra split pressure from Jungha too, because he has the hunt. He could just hunt these minions, and he's just going to start pressuring the top lane now. Clears it out, preps it for the next Shrine phase, which is open in 10 seconds. I guess this is the kind of play I was looking for, right? Look for the picks, chase these members, look for the hooks, be aggressive, especially when you see Illidan has gone to the top lane.
Yes.
I like the play that we're seeing from Mighty right now. I think they needed to be doing it earlier, but they're now showing us that they're willing to fight. Look for these picks. Look for stragglers. Look for someone who's not safe in lane.
And those four still standing for L5 is really not letting Mighty to actually make the fast, quicker rotations to get the hooks because L5 has more vision. They have more space to actually go around, rotate around the map when they're forcing the rotations off the Mighty. So they could have snowballed a little bit more from the beginning, but because of this, they're losing all those camps. Oh.
Yeah. Well, that's double pressure in the top lane now from the Bruiser camps. And that's going to go directly towards the keep. If they leave it for too long, then obviously Jungle will just hunt over and start split pushing it. They at least have the cap and bot to deal with some of that keep pressure right now. So this is why they have an opportunity to be aggressive now and invade. There's no objectives in this area, though, so might just want to get Sarah backing off. As Jungha just is already working on reducing his cooldown for his hunt.
And Mighty has to rotate, just follow the rotations of L5, but they have to punish. If they don't, the camp will actually go towards the keep, and seems like it's been doing damage onto this keep.
L5 is just running away from them. It's actually beautiful to watch. They, oh, okay, this is where we are. If you don't come down and get us here, then we're gonna get the Dragon Knight.
That's playing dirty. I like it. That's the kind of beautiful macro play that we've been seeing from the top tier teams.
And so they just run away, let the camp do its work in the top lane. It's dirty, as you said. Well, you say it's dirty. I say it's clean, and it's beautiful.
The hunt is available just now, and does get trapped, though, for the time being. And seems like the target is on Magi. Sonya just joins the team fight. It seems like Twilight Archon is keeping them away. There's Ancestral, but Chonga gets blown up!
There's the Chromie play I'm looking for. Strafe, though. So much damage coming in. The leap comes in onto SC, but he is cleansed immediately. The heals are coming out. Redemption will allow Nasong to respawn here, basically, but Twilight Archon, so powerful.
Sustain is just not enough for Mighty, and seems like that's going to be game. They lost Chonga, but that's okay because L5 still 4 members remaining, and that's going to be core and the end of the game very soon.
L5 here, gonna take this at 23 minutes. A long game, a dirty one for Mighty, as they just could not make the Chromie pick work. They'll probably regret this going into the rest of the series, but L5 will go up to match point 2-1 as SDE redeems himself after the Abathur play we saw in game 2, playing much better in that last game. I feel like that was a draft that Mighty could have won with, but they just didn't execute properly, and luckily for them, as we were incorrectly told, they don't actually have to win with a 3-1 score. They just have to come back in the series. The hope is still alive, but...
Hope is still alive, but I don't think we can hold on to that hope too much at all.
Yeah, I mean, after watching the way they drafted and played that draft, I'm worried. I want to go back to what's more normal for them. Let's go back to the Trinity compositions or more common melee assassins, not necessarily the Sonya. Maybe Malthael could have been a little bit stronger there. The Falstad pick, I feel like, would have rounded that composition out so nicely. Well, they went for the Chromie, and it just did not work.
And also a few other ways of using Chromie we could have actually gone in just full Q build or even W build. Could have actually got more kills, I feel like. And if Sonya took Crater, which I would have loved to see, Chromie can do just free damage, just doing all the skill shots, had to go with the timeout instead of the extra range. Chromie had to come for the auto attack, which actually makes Chromie to put in the dangerous positioning for herself. So I think other builds were possible against all the dives. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that last fight was proof enough that Chromie can kill Illidan instantly and wasted the Ancestral as well. The Ancestral's there. He's like, well, I don't care. Like, you think that's enough? Illidan's full health bar is not enough for this combo. But we didn't see that very often.
Yeah,
and
maybe once or twice.
SC won that fight because everyone was so focused on the Illidan. SC was just doing so much damage. His strafe came out totally uncontested. No one's touching him. No one's grabbing onto him.
The Bala pick was, I think, the key to L5. Going in with the Qs, helping in every single team fight she was positioning. She was just vaulting away from all those hooks. What a play there.
The Q build wasn't even necessary, in fact. Like, we saw so much damage coming out from SC just with his auto attacks, and the Q build was a safe build, and I think the right build, given the situation, but because of how the game turned out, it actually was kind of a detriment to him because he wasn't getting those single target shots ever. They were almost never contesting the Dragon Knight. Mighty never was able to channel a Dragon Knight, so he was like, I guess I probably should have just gone autos. Oh well.